From the burning gates of hell to a cliffside temple that defies gravity in China, check out some of the most mysterious locations around the world. Number 9. The Darvaza Gas Crater. Our planet is home to several mysterious locations, many of which are still an enigma to scientists. One such location has been called the Gate to Hell, or a portal to the underworld. And of course, tourists are fascinated by it. It's the mysterious, forever burning Darvaza Gas Crater located in the hot and expansive Karakum Desert in Turkmenistan. The glow of the inferno can be seen from miles away. Ironically, Darvaza means gateway or doorway in some Eastern languages. So how did this sinister and fiery inferno end up in the middle of a desert? Well, in 1971, a group of Soviet geologists went to the Karakum Desert in search of oil fields. They found what they thought to be a substantial oil field and got to work drilling, but they soon realized their mistake. Unfortunately for the scientists, they were drilling into a massive underground natural gas cavern which couldn't support the weight of their heavy equipment. The site collapsed, taking their equipment along with it. Having punctured the pocket of natural gas, poisonous flames started to seep into the air at an alarming rate. In an attempt to stop a complete environmental catastrophe, the Soviets set the whole thing on fire. That doesn't really sound like the best idea to me, but hey, I'm no scientist. They hoped that all the dangerous natural gas would burn away in a few weeks' time. But decades later, it's still going strong. It's like the longest desert bonfire ever. The crater is a whopping 226 feet across and 98 feet deep. Despite its foreboding name and seemingly never-ending flames, visitors trek into the desert to get up close and personal with the blazing glory. No one has any clue when or if the flames will ever die. Number 8. The Alaska Triangle. The Alaska Triangle, often called Alaska's Bermuda Triangle, is a place shrouded in mystery. In the vast wilderness of the frontier state, numerous peculiar things have happened. The state's largest city of Anchorage in south to Juneau in the southeast panhandle to Barrow, a small town on the state's north coast, are the three major points of the Alaska Triangle. Conspiracy theorists have composed arguments of extraterrestrial activity, energy vortexes, mythical creatures, and evil anomalies. Some even call the Alaska Triangle the Devil's Triangle to emphasize how sinister it is. The far-reaching expanse within this perimeter consists of some pretty unforgiving terrain, consisting of craggy mountain peaks and incredibly dense forest cover. With such a dramatic and intimidating backdrop, it's no wonder a large number of people and things have been reported missing, twice as many as the national average. It's as if the people just vanish into thin air. More than 16,000 people, including airplane passengers, hikers, and tourists, have disappeared in the Alaska Triangle since 1988. Hey, real quick, thanks for checking out the channel. Give this video a like and don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Number 7. Putalbari Kolkata, India. Yes, Kolkata is a beautiful city with a lot of great things for tourists to do and see. It has the Ganges, amazing food, it's modern, yet deeply rooted in its culture. Yet, like all destinations, Kolkata also has its share of places that have a dark past. Locals will tell you to steer clear of Putalbari, aka the extremely creepy dollhouse. Putalbari has had people frightened for years now with weird sounds, unexplained events, and sometimes rare sightings of something that seems completely otherworldly. The House of Dolls is located in one of the bylanes of North Kolkata, close to the banks of the River Hooghly. Kolkata may be a beautiful city, but it still has some secrets seeped in mystery and mayhem during the time the British ruled India. The Putalbari is a sprawling, old-world mansion situated in 22 Hara Chandra Mullik Lane, next to the circular railway track running alongside the river. Legend has it that in the early 20th century, the building served as a warehouse for goods offloaded by ships that docked at the nearby jetty. Why and how such a beautiful, aristocratic building turned into a warehouse is a question that would plague any curious mind. It is said that the owner of this house had a lovely daughter who was fascinated with dolls. Her obsession reached a drastic climax that soon the entire house was covered with dolls of every shape and size and type. Soon, a mishap occurred. Her smiles faded into death, and thus Putalbari met with a ghostly fate. It is believed that once upon a time, the wealthy and affluent owners who lived in this house took advantage of their power. They bought dancers for their entertainment, but they would kidnap the young woman, do horrible things to them, and then murder them to keep them from telling anyone what really went on in the house. It is now believed that Putalbari is haunted by the spirits of hundreds of young girls who lost their lives at the hands of the lusty, greedy masters. Today, Putalbari is shrouded in mystery and a favorite haunt for ghost hunters. Are you afraid of ghosts? Number 6. Fairy circles. Okay, let's move away from the haunted place and talk about a more magical place. Thousands and thousands of circular patches sprawl across the desert landscape of the African country Namibia. They range in size with diameters from 12 feet to about 114 feet. These strange ovals of soil surrounded by rings of grass are known as fairy circles because of their defined shape and pattern, which apparently suggests they've been created by small spirity creatures. If you look at the location on Google Maps, it looks very supernatural. There's a legend that says the landscape was created by gods who left behind their footprints. But the information of the fairy circles have more to do with math and biology than folklore. What may look like a random arrangement may not be random at all. While scientists have many theories, including creepy crawlies like sand termites, recent research seems to indicate that the pattern is created by plants competing for water that is extremely scarce in the desert. Number 5. Bran Castle, Transylvania. Okay, back to some creepy stuff. The movie Twilight gave you a very sugar-coated idea of vampires. Forget everything you learned from that series, because Dracula is the real thing, and what could be more mysterious than his castle in Romania? Romania itself is a mesmerizing place with its medieval steepled towns like Brasov and Cluj, making you feel as if you're walking in the world of old Drac himself. The countryside is equally mind-blowing. Sylvan hills, misty mountains, and the faint echoing of church bells. But what really hits you in Romania are the Gothic castles, among which the creepy yet glorious Bran Castle in Transylvania will take your breath away. Bran Castle sits on a solitary hill in Transylvania, rising dramatically amidst a crown of trees in the Carpathian Mountains. The 14th century fortress has been associated with some pretty bloodthirsty figures in history, like Vlad the Impaler and the serial killer countess Elizabeth Bathory. Vlad the Impaler was known for impaling his enemies, of course, and leaving them to die. He's also known as Dracul, or Bad Blood, or Son of Satan. Elizabeth Bathory was responsible for torturing and killing hundreds of young women between 1585 and 1610. The Countess displayed vampiric tendencies by drinking and bathing in the blood of young virgins in the belief she could attain eternal youth. It was this castle that inspired Bram Stoker to write his legendary tale of the toothy vampire Dracula. Despite the foreboding exterior, the interior of Bran Castle is quite homey, in a castle that houses vampires kind of way. This is one I think I would like to check out in person. What about you? Number 4. Area 51. So, Area 51 actually does exist. Officially now. A true magnet for conspiracy theorists like no other place on this list, Area 51 has been the inspiration for UFO hunters, extraterrestrial buffs, and loads of sci-fi specials for years. The best example of this is Roland Emmerich's 1996 alien-rich masterpiece film, Independence Day. Located smack down in the middle of the Nevadan desert, the site has been kept super top secret by the United States government since it began developing reconnaissance and spy planes back in the 1950s. There are those that believe somewhere in the region where Area 51 is a heavily guarded underground lab where the government keeps and studies captured alien aircrafts and perhaps even aliens themselves. The belief that Area 51's military base is just a cover for alien research has been totally mythologized by pop culture for decades. Area 51 remains a top-secret testing facility to this day, and the government doesn't want you anywhere near it. The closest you can get to Area 51 still puts you over 15 miles away. Number 3. The Crooked Forest of Poland. Earth is home to some pretty weird geographical phenomena, and the crooked forest in Poland, where trees grow in the oddest directions, is a prime example. It's almost like the trees have decided to form their own abstract surrounding. The twisted and contorted trunks grow so strangely that they will make anyone half expect to see Groot appearing out of nowhere because of the many trees that look like him. Aw, I am Groot. More like an enchanted forest, Poland's crooked forest is located south of a city whose name is a regular tongue twister. Szczecin lies in eastern Poland and just a stone's throw away from the German border. In one particular forested area, there is a collection of pine trees that have freaked people out for years. The entire forest appears bent at 90 degrees at the trunk, and no one has been able to give a logical or accurate explanation. Some experts are of the opinion that years ago the forest might have been subjected to man-made techniques that caused them to bend, but that's hardly a credible explanation. Others feel the trees must have been naturally deformed, or a snowstorm could have bent the trunks. Try as they might, still today, no one has been able to explain the reason for the spectacular crooked forest. Number 2, Highgate Cemetery, London. Even if you loved watching Discovery's A Haunting, don't even think of wandering into England's most haunted cemetery at night, because chances are we may have to arrange an exorcism for you. Just kidding. Kind of. Of all the mysterious places on Earth, the Highgate Cemetery in London is steeped in infamy ever since it opened in 1839. It was established as one of the city's magnificent 7 park cemeteries, but down the line, that hardly became the case, even though you have some pretty amazing personalities here. Highgate is a historical treasure of sorts, with scores of Egyptian and Victorian-inspired tombs, but I wouldn't recommend going here at night. In the cemetery, you've got sci-fi author Douglas Adams and Adam Worth, a famous criminal who inspired Sherlock Holmes' arch-nemesis, Moriarty. The Highgate Cemetery gained notoriety when, over the years, people claimed to see terrifying vampire-like creatures hovering over the graves. That triggered a massive vampire hunt, and suddenly scores of vampire hunters started thronging the cemetery at night, hoping to catch the creatures. Tombs were repeatedly opened up, bodies were mutilated, and wooden stakes were driven through people just in case there were vampires that wanted to make a comeback. People have also claimed to see all kinds of ghosts wandering around. Even magicians joined the fray, with several people ending up getting arrested for violating graves. Today, Highgate Cemetery is a restricted place with limited permission for photography. Sounds creepy and a little cool. This might be one I'd dare to see. How about you? Number 1, the Hanging Temple of Hangzhou, China. This last one is sacred. The Hanging Temple in Datong, China is exactly what it sounds like, a hanging temple. How it manages to stay precariously perched on the vertical rock face of a mountainside beats me. It's located in the Shanxi province southeast of Datong, China. The temple was built on the cliffs of Mount Hangsheng, one of the 5 most sacred mountains in China. The structure clings to a crag of the mountain face in defiance of gravity. One slight misstep and it's a sheer 240 feet drop into the gorge below. It's believed the unique monastery was built 1,500 years ago, at a time when humans didn't have the building technology we have today. Yet, they pulled it off. The temple is the only existing temple in the world dedicated to 3 Chinese religions: Buddhism, Taoism, and Confucianism. How could a building like this withstand the winds and storms of so many years? The Hanging Monastery is an architectural wonder. A unique mechanical theory was applied to building the framework. Cross beams were half inserted into the rocks as the foundation, while the rock in back became its support. Seen from below, it appears to be a tumble-down castle in the air. Construction experts from all over the world come to marvel at the stunning architecture wonder. The craftwork and everything it symbolizes embodies a great cultural achievement for the Chinese people. If you ever plan a visit, you'll for sure want to take some pictures. Just be careful and avoid looking down. Thanks for watching. Which one of these places is the most mysterious to you? Would you ever want to visit one of them? Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe for more videos like these.